Hello and welcome to the Legacy Crusaders YouTube channel. My name is Benji, and today we'll be going over 5 tips about playing Mathmech or playing against Mathmech. If you want more information on Mathmech, I have an hour-long how to play series video on Mathmech, which I will link in the card up above and in the description down below. First, we're going to be talking about what is the standard Mathmech combo and some things to think about while either doing the combo or while your opponent is doing the combo. Firstly, it is a 1-card combo if you have Mathmech Circular, which is often searched using things like Signet Mining or Small World. Mathmech Circular has an effect that allows it to special summon itself by sending to the graveyard as cost 1 Mathmech monster. So you'll send Mathmech Sigma to the graveyard in order to special summon Circular. The only restriction on you at this point in time is that you can only attack with 1 monster this turn. So if you're going second, this still means you can access code your opponent using Update Jammer to get a 2-attack access code Talker in order to attack your opponent for game. Anyways, that's not part of the combo. So we will summon the Circular, we'll send the Sigma. We can then activate the graveyard effect of Sigma to special summon it if you have no monster in your extra monster zone, but it gets banished when it leaves the field. It also locks you into Cyverse at this point. When the Sigma hits the board, it'll trigger the effect of Circular in order to search a Mathmech spell or trap card. This is where you search your Mathmech Superfactorial. You'll then overlay both your Circular and your Sigma into a Prime Mathmech Alimbertion, which you'll then use its effect to detach 2 materials in order to search for a Mathmech Diameter, and you're going to use this as your normal summon. Diameter is then going to be bringing back your Mathmech Circular. This way, if your opponent activates DD Crow, you will get to keep your Sigma in graveyard to use for future turns. You'll then link either one of these into Link Disciple, and the other one into Link Devotee, which will activate it as mandatory to activate. Then you'll have 2 options. You can either use Disciple to tribute the Devotee in order to draw 1 and put 1 back, as well as triggering the effect of Devotee to summon 2 tokens. Alternatively, you can activate Alimbertion and tribute the Link Devotee in order to summon any Mathmech you might want from your deck. It could be an addition or subtraction as extenders, or it could be your multiplication if you're trying to go for game. This passes on the ability to draw, but gives you an additional body to work with. So we'll be using Alimbertion to get 2 tokens and an extra monster. So you'll now have Devotee, 2 tokens, 1 Mathmech Alimbertion, and 1 other Mathmech of your choosing. You'll link the Devotee and 1 of the tokens into Cyverse Wicked. You'll use 2 of the remaining monsters you'd like into an IP Masquerena into the zone that Wicked points to, banishing from the graveyard either Link Disciple or Link Devotee, and using the effect of Wicked, you'll be able to search for a Mathmech Diameter for your follow-up. So if you completed your turn properly, you'll have Cyverse Wicked on the board, meaning that it can't be destroyed by battle or card effects, and you'll also have it pointing at your IP Masquerena, which will not be able to be destroyed by card effects. You'll have an Alimbertion on your field. Alternatively, you can give up your Alimbertion, and you can also make a Linger Rebo to protect yourself from a top deck card such as Evenly Matched or Infinite Impermanence, which is the second tip I wanted to run through. So the first tip is really that you should try to, when reviving cards with Diameter or with the effect of Nabla, is you should try and revive cards that you don't mind getting banished. So your Diameter in graveyard is often very important to try and keep for follow-up, as well as your Sigmas, additions, and subtractions, because they're all once per turn extenders. The other part of this tip was, of course, getting the extra body by not using the effect of Link Devotee, and realizing you have the ability to make a Linger Rebo if you wanted to protect your cards from being stopped. Which is our second tip, which is if you're more for when you're playing against Mathmech, you want to be very careful. Your opponent can always go into Linger Rebo with one of their monsters, making it so your trap cards are useless, so you might be forced to preemptively use your trap cards. Be aware that your opponent can make Linger Rebo with any level 4 or lower Cyverse monster. If your opponent happens to have a Parallel Exceed, they might just start off with Linger Rebo and then just recoup the monster used using a Parallel Exceed. And Linger Rebo, of course, can stop your trap card, your Infinite Impermanence, your Tier Element, Meta Noise if you are holding that for a particular part of your opponent's play. You might be forced to use them earlier because most people who play Mathmech do use Linger Rebo. The next step is to try and keep your Mathmech Diameter in rotation, always used to make your Xyz monsters. So during the turn 1 combo, instead of using the effect of Sigma, you can use your normal summon on Diameter early in order to bring back the Sigma and make your Alimbertion able to use a negate right away. Alternatively, you also don't want to be targeting your Diameter with your Nabla because you don't want your opponent to try and target it with their DD Crows, so you want to do your best to protect your Mathmech Diameter. Next, one of the ways that you go for game in this deck if you use the effect of Circular is to make an Accesscode Talker that attacks twice and has 43 or 5,300 attack points. You usually have a decent amount of attributes in your graveyard in order to pop all the cards your opponent controls using an Update Jammer. But additionally, if you play 1 copy of Multiplication, you can use Multiplication when you make your Accesscode Talker, and you can boost its attack. And if you chainlink things appropriately, using Mathmech Multiplication as chainlink 1, when you summon your Accesscode Talker, you can actually make the Accesscode Talker have either 8,600 or 10,600 attack points. And at this point, the Update Jammer effect is already applied to it, as well as the multiplication. And even a card like Forbidden Droplet would not actually stop you from being able to OTK your opponent, necessarily, because Droplet freezes the attack points of a monster, and so does Mathmech Multiplication. So if your opponent were to imperm, your Accesscode Talker would actually maintain the attack boost from multiplication, so it would actually still have 10,600 or 8,600, depending on what the second material was for the Accesscode talker. So just like a droplet would freeze a Gren Maju's attack points, even though it negates its effect that boosted its own attack. Attack boost can no longer be stopped because it was frozen by multiplication. So multiplication freezes the attack similarly to droplet. So a Imperm or a Valor on your Accesscode talker doesn't stop you nearly as much as you also apply the effect of Mathmech multiplication. And lastly, the extenders of Mathmech addition and Mathmech subtraction are not in their ability to summon themselves is not reliant on the monster's attack or defense being reduced, only that there was a monster on the field to have their attack reduced when you activate them. So if your opponent tries to remove the monster that was targeted from the field, this action will not prevent these cards from being summoned. And that's all I have for today on Mathmech. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please check out the How to Play video on Mathmech, and we'll see you in our next video. It is 5 tips on Divine Arsenal AA Zeus Sky Thunder.